In this world, angels live among us. Many great invincible beings of immeasurable power, a bridge between us and the gods. These creatures are not as you might imagine them. While some are human-like in their appearance, most are alien. A sitting mountain, a giant boar, a hovering sphere. Each of the angels provides a powerful boon to the surrounding area and its inhabitants. They do not speak to us. They do not move. We built our world around them. They shaped our cultures. We rely on them. Until something dark came along. Now, one by one, the angels have been slain. The people of the lands around them slaughtered. A wave of death is spreading across our world. Only a few places remain as a final bastion of life. Only a few against an endless horde of oblivion. And within these few, a single band of unlikely heroes, bound by forces beyond their understanding. In this world, there is only a single word that describes their soul-bound connection.
In the temple of Elneus, in the western mountains of Ku, Jilden vanquishes Anaware, the fiend that has plagued her for most of her life. Jilden, a warmth engulfs you, sort of spreading from your chest to your fingertips, as though the very planet itself acknowledges your resolve, and the weight you've carried for so long lifts and is perhaps replaced by a sense of peace, or maybe purpose, or maybe power. And I think you sort of return to your physical form. Light dances across Jilden's skin. It's not searing, but embracing. And Jilden, for the first time in a very long time, you might feel whole. The fiend is gone. But you know the shadow you faced will always linger. This reminder of what you've overcome. The other three you would have witnessed in, the brief moments where Anaware overtook Jilden's body, and then Cirrus, you cast a spell. I can't remember what spell it was, but you were able to sort of banish Anaware for a moment from Jilden's form, and then Jilden overcome the fiend. Before the four of you, a spear sits on a raised dais of alabaster stone, surrounded by a sort of faint, shimmering aura. Its haft is long and sleek, carved from an unyielding metal that glimmers with a silvery luster. Intricate engravings spiral along its length, glowing faintly with ancient runes. A language not of words, but of purpose and resolve. The spear is something between a classic spear and a lance. It is larger than the sort of classic dimensions of both, even for an orc or a Goliath to wield. But the blade along this thing is flawless, radiating a kind of warm glow of something old and pure. It is neither menacing nor inviting. The spear is simply patient, waiting for a hand worthy to wield it. A relic of the gods themselves, and you stand before its presence, the most powerful mortal weapon in this world. Goliaths and the northern folk call it Gungnir. The orcs call it the Great Thunderbolt. The humans of Sarasvati knew it as Brahmastra, and the deep gnomes named it Rui Ginyu Bang. Before you is the ancient weapon known in common the world over as the Angel Spear. As Jilden, you return to your body, and Aware's bubble of illusory magic fades, and the spear is presented to you. What do you all do?
Jilden, are you all right?
I think I am. Better, perhaps, than I have ever been.
Well. Was it any surprise that she lied to us? I say, glancing at the spear.
Or she will lie to us no more.
A
But
pity.
after all, this is what we came for, yes.
Quite.
You ought to be proud, Jilden.
If there's one thing to be proud of, it is not forcing you all away before you could do this for me. But I fear it is not something I should have pride for. It is your tenacity, not my character, that did that.
Speaking of doing things for each other, who's carrying that thing?
I think it's best that I at least have a look. And I want to study the magics that is in this spear. I want to pull at the weave and see what is in this thing.
Yeah, okay. Give me an
If it's safe to
Arcana
pick up
check.
and things like that. A 27.
Yeah, are you weave checking or just checking?
I guess I'm weave checking. That's how I check now.
Yeah. Yeah, this is it is made of the same stuff as the angels. Hold up. I think the stream froze for a second. Yeah, it's made of the same stuff as the angels in that I guess the way that you might perceive that is you know how we're all made of carbon and everything's made of carbon?
Yes.
This spear is made of the same type of carbon as the angels are.
Okay.
It seems as if whenever the angels were created, this spear was created alongside them. Beyond that, it does seem to just be pretty simply a weapon to be wielded. You understand the general properties of this thing, and you can convert this however you wish. It is mechanically a lance. It can only attune to a paladin or a cleric. You get a +3 bonus to attack and damage rolls made with this weapon. It has 3 smites in it, 3 charges of a particular smite. That if you hit a Fey, Fiend, or Undead with this weapon, it takes an additional 3d6 radiant damage. If it is of CR2 of lower, it must succeed on a DC 17 Wisdom saving throw or be banished back to its home plane. If it isn't already there, it can't leave that plane until 24 hours have passed. It has 3 charges of a thing called Divine Lightning. From the tip of the spear, an arc of lightning bursts forth in a 100-foot line. Each creature in that line must make a DC 17 Dexterity saving throw or take 3d6 lightning damage. It has a thing that is called the Celestial Lance. When you hit a celestial or angelic creature with this lance, the weapon deals an extra 3d6 true damage True damage is that the damage from your attack ignores any damage resistance or immunity. At the start of the Celestial's next turn, it must succeed on a DC 25 con save or be stunned. It also has another property called It's Perfectly Sized. The item magically resizes to be held appropriately by any attuned creature's size.
Can I tell if it's safe to pick up?
Absolutely. It's safe.
And can I tell if it was created here with our angels, or was it created the other place with those angels?
Yeah, this is this belongs to your Gaia.
Okay. Did you want to say something, Miranda?
I have a question. It's a mechanics question about the sphere.
Yeah.
The sphere. You said that it changes size according to who's wielding it. Does that affect its stats in any way, or just its size?
No.
Okay.
It remains a lance with +3 bonus to attack and damage rolls, and then all of the other things also still deal the same damage.
Does Thrak say anything about the fact that it's made of angel?
Yeah. So as I'm studying it, I'm just like rattling off what I learn. It appears this is made of the same stuff, the same materials as the angels, and in fact, it is from our Gaia, not from the other. It is a very powerful weapon, but only useful for paladin or cleric, someone who commits themselves to the power of a god.
I see.
Or is attuned in some way to nature, so as to naturally become something like a cleric or a paladin of nature, you know, that kind of thing.
Okay, I say it can only be attuned to someone who is naturally connected with either a god or perhaps Gaia itself in some way. I do not think this should be a weapon for you or for me, Seer.
Nor would I really want to have touched it anyway. The question I'm asking is simply because we've come across so many different sorts of angel in our travels, from twigs to rivers of blood. Is that an angel too before you? And will it do something in the future, I wonder?
Oh, that's a good question. Would I have noticed if it's an actual angel?
It is not an angel.
Okay. I pick it up. I'm a pretty big guy, but this is unwieldy for me.
Yeah.
I pick it up.
It
and
actually
I say,
immediately shrinks a little.
Does it? Okay. Ah, I see. It is designed to shrink or enlarge based on the wielder, and it is safe for us to use. I don't sense any curses.
It's extremely heavy.
I give it. Okay.
A lance requires 2 hands to wield when you aren't mounted.
Okay.
I
I'll
would point at your bag. Can't your bag hold all sorts of musical instruments? Doesn't it?
I could fit it in there. Yes.
Might be safe to do it that way.
Very well.
I look upon the spear one last time. I think maybe perhaps a look of hunger washes over my face for a minute before it just shrugs off.
Why
Yeah,
be
I give
safe
it-
when it could be useful?
Well, it's not going to be useful immediately. How long does a tuning take? Is it a day? Or is it
It's
like...
a 1 hour, isn't it?
short
We've
rest.
been doing, for this, a short rest.
Okay.
I actually have
Okay.
no idea what it is in Raw. Because I change it depending on
Right.
every campaign I run. In some shit, I don't even have
Fair
attunement.
enough.
You just, equip it. But in
Right.
this, I think we've been doing a short rest. I know.
I look to
Well.
my staff, which is on the floor next to me, and I pick it up and sort of tap it against the ground a few times. Where usually it sends a little bit of latent magic, probably coming from it, as that would be my focus. There's nothing now; it's just completely dormant. But I suppose this
Really?
thing is useless to me now.
You're saying this is out of character. You're saying your druidic staff was your focus the entire time and now it's not doing anything.
You're saying you're useless now?
I'm saying my staff is no longer a tool of usefulness to me.
Okay. Can I see what's going on with that? I'll
You
take
can-
an old peek under the...
You can make an
under the
Arcana
hood.
check, yeah.
He's still Justice Christ. What did we
Oh,
say?
23.
What did I say?
Oh, sorry. I'm so sorry.
You have disadvantage on the roll
Justice
now. I'm
Christ lives within us all. Do not forget that.
You had one job. It was level up to level 19.
I don't... What?
You did it, right? A 23. You do have some understanding of what's happened to her. Yeah, she seems to have lost all of her power since her power was granted to her by a patron. So we have been under the understanding that Jilden was a druid class, but that doesn't really exist in this setting. There are some clerics and paladins, and there are monks and things, but a druid doesn't necessarily have to be a class. She would have just been just a woodswoman. The thing that we understood to be a druid power, and all of her druidic powers were actually just warlock powers, essentially, and that she was given them quietly and surreptitiously, but granted them and drawing them from Anaware forever. The element of Jilden's soul that makes Jilden Quura obviously enhanced that to a huge amount, and she became very powerful with it. But upon the death of Anaware, and from sort of relinquishing that patron, Jilden lost all of that power. However, Jilden has taken on a portion of that power as her own. The process has transformed the energy.
Shaped by my own desires, as the last thing I was thinking was how to kill Mordriel. The only thing I have left to do.
And in doing so, Jilden has become the being that wields Anaware's power. Jilden isn't a fiend, and she isn't like this demon that's doing all this demonic stuff, but whatever energy Anaware was drawing from to power her abilities, Jilden now kind of possesses. But it has
I'm a
transformed.
being of vengeance, using Anaware's power as my tool for vengeance, and
Yeah.
as in return, I am a tool.
Which is very
So-
close to being a sort of nature paladin, but has a dark side of the moon element to it more than anything. She seems to have been kind of reborn in terms of her abilities after this experience with Anaware, and in doing so has become the perfect weapon to wield this spear.
I approach Jilden, and I'm sort of looking down my spectacles at her, and I get right up to her, and I touch her chin and look into her eyes, and
This is the first time I've willingly looked you in the eye for almost since we've known each other.
and then I look down her arms, and I want to clasp her hand in mine, like I'm Arnold Schwarzenegger and we're in the Predator movie. And I want to test your strength against mine. I want to see how strong you are.
All right,
Like not like I'm grappling you or something. I just want to see if you react to that.
make contested athletics checks, please.
$21.
It
got
is
a
that
20.
exact scene
Canonical.
where the two ridiculously bulging arms grasp one another. Jilden is strong. Very strong
Yeah.
right now.
Something has happened to you, Jilden. I imagine this is who you are meant to be. Do you agree?
I do not think it was always that way. But now, I am who I need to be in this moment.
Oh, thank Gaia. For a moment there, I thought we just scattered her potency to the four winds and we were just three now, but... Sorry, where was I? Yes, congratulations on removing your baggage. I think it's time we move on, no?
I first
I
turn to
turn-
Cirrus.
Oh, okay.
We have a three-way tie. He wants to go first.
I'm going for
You go
the.
first.
I'm going to
Yeah,
pick.
okay.
I'm turning around and going to pick up the lance. So if you two are talking while I do that, go ahead.
You go first.
Okay.
Because you were going to say something. You
Kiss.
turn to me and you're going to say
Kiss.
something,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. We kiss. No.
Cirrus, you're not going to like this. But there have been many things I have said to you that you have not liked, and I've said them all the same, and I'm not about to change that now. But I felt you there for me. When I thought Anawari was about to take the last thing I had left, you were there. You are the reason I am still here. I am your tool. Whatever it takes to defeat Mordriel, I am there by your side. Until the end.
I take a step towards you. You're right, my friend. I don't like it. And then I raise my hand to your forehead and I would like to bless you. This isn't a mechanic. This is just a symbolic, spiritual blessure.
You would feel, I think, as you put your hand to my head, an echo of that same power, an echo of faith almost, that is now running through me as you sense this faith in you and in our cause bouncing back to you directly. And there is an almost seamless feeling now between us, where before there will have been always a jagged edge of something that never was always incongruous between us. And now
I
it's
bring
completely
my
seamless.
forehead. I bring my forehead to your forehead in the same gesture that I did with Thor's before I journeyed on this adventure. And I close my eyes for a moment. To the brink.
Until all else fails.
I approach, wielding this massive lance, and I say, I think a new Jilden needs a new weapon. And I present it to you.
I gingerly take hold of it.
It slightly adjusts in size just to become perfect for your size and stature.
I'm holding it away from me, almost afraid, as I have been for a long time now, about the wrath of the angels upon me. But nothing happens. And I once again look to Cirrus.
I give
Consider
you
me-
a soft smile. Sorry.
Consider me its safekeeper. For now. But in my eyes, this is yours.
Pardon the interruption, but were we not supposed to give that staff to a dragon to wield?
No, I've actually been thinking about that. I believe a lance is designed to be used on a mount. Perhaps we could convince the dragon to be ridden into battle.
I suppose they've been ridden once before.
I glance again to Cirrus and proffer the spear out to her for her to hold.
I raise my hand. No. It's to be yours.
Until the time comes. And then you'll know what to do.
When the time comes, you will wield it well. But we should get going, or we're running out of time.
Yeah. I whisper something into a tiny orb. Few in words of magic, and then I will hand it to Sia, and I will tell him you'll know when to use this.
I gingerly receive the orb you mentioned.
It's like the size of a marble. It's a tiny
Right.
little orb with 1 hit point. Mechanically,
What color is it?
it's like a cloudy white.
I see. I take it and I thank you. I say with a mock bow, and I place it in a pocket in my robe. A curious furrow bounces on my left brow for a quick second before my face returns to what it usually is. Are we quite done here?
Almost.
And I reach out one hand back towards the corridor where we saw all those spirits earlier. The ones that Anaware conjured, that were as real as they could be, really, for all of those who saw them. And an echo of them, a whisper of them, slowly trails through the air towards me and dissipates.
Now I'm ready.
Curious.
Okay, so you head back to the tower. A short trip? No? You want to do something else?
Sorry, just like while we're on the way to the tower, I look to Sia and I say, go ahead and try. Why don't you try using that that orb? Point it that direction.
This thing.
I'll make you another one. Yes, I'll make you another one before you need it again.
I fan my right hand in front of me, and this pearl, this white orb, rolls between my fingers before getting caught between my thumb and forefinger. And I look in the distance and I skip it like a pebble, about 30 feet away from me.
Yeah, so out of it, a massive ball of fire comes out and launches from it and hits the side of a hill. You just cast level 5 fireball.
Oh, well, it's a good thing I went with that and not just throwing it between us.
That's why I
There's
pointed in
always-
that direction.
Option 2. Yep. Thank you. Please, may I have another?
Yes, I will. I will prepare one for you when the time comes.
Appreciate it.
To survive death and demons, only to be obliterated by Seer and his fireball.
I don't know about you, but I think that'd be quite nice.
Or at least we'd all feel warm with each other for the first time.
Seared, even. Anyway, I walk ahead.
Yeah.
I watched the back of him curiously.
The four of you make your way across the short jaunt from the abandoned and empty town, little village of Ku, and up towards the tower, Hard's Tower, the Tower of Eternal Nexus, and the door opens, I think, as you approach. The sort of familiar sounds of 13 Darrow in there, I think it was.
Forgot about them.
Chaos. Yeah. There are 13 inbred underground dwarves running around, each one with like mutations and things that are creating chaos in this tower at all different levels. I think maybe 4 of them have gone missing because the tower has got all these weird doors and walkways and things that will send you off into different areas. The door is opened sort of expectantly, I think, by Hard in his robes. And behind him you can see Thor's kind of looking even more eagerly to see the 4 of you approach and step inside. The door closes behind you and the kind of warmth of the tower wraps around you. Hard and Thor's kind of move instinctively towards Thrak and then Cirrus, but the 2 of them can't help but notice the spear, immediately awestruck by this thing. Thor's says,
Is that? Could it be?
Yes, it is.
Dorea. So it was true. There is hope for us yet, Hard.
Hard kind of dances around, kind of a shiver of excitement rushes through him.
Yes. Okay. Let us go then. We must bring it to the dragon.
He looks towards you, Thrak.
Yes, we should. We will also need some time to prepare, but we can make our way there now. Unless we want to rest first, and I'll look to my companions.
I wouldn't say no to a quick sit down.
Nor I, if we can spare it.
Thor's and Hard kind of look between each other. Hard, sort of, you get the sense that he is impatient and he doesn't want to let you rest, but Thor's says,
It is very likely that when we return to Moon, there will be fighting. Taking a rest is a good idea. Is there nothing you can do for them, Hard?
Hard kind of paces up and down for a moment and says,
If you rest by the wheel, it will go quicker.
yes, of course. Then,
Could have told us that before. That would have been nice to know.
I didn't think of it. And I'll start heading to the trapdoor.
Yeah, you have to kind of you barrel forward. A Darrow kind of bumps into the side of you. You feel him kind of rummaging through your pockets, and you have to bat him away. A couple of them crowd around you, Jilden, and start looking at the lance. What's that? You got a new toy? Can I have a go of it? Can I have a quick go?
Don't touch it. Get
Hey,
away
just
from
a
it.
quick go. I'll just have a little spin.
Kick him.
Oh,
Kick
you
him away.
bastard! You bastard! You. It runs off.
If you want to watch go back, so you'll leave it alone.
They've run away, creating mischief elsewhere. They're dressed completely differently as well. They're like wearing some of Hard's clothing. One of them's wearing something that's clearly Thrax. You know, this is unbelievably huge robes.
Arms trailing on the floor everywhere they go.
Okay. So, you guys head down through the trapdoor towards the area where the wheel is. That huge kind of turning construct that makes the tower work. It is the nexus that is the eternal nexus of this tower. Again, you have to make your way through this maze, but the maze now shifts appropriately for you since Thrak has mastered and has attuned to the tower as essentially a magic item. You don't have to do all these trials and things. You just move down. Yid is probably down there. He probably flaps his little dragon wings, flies around you, says his hellos, and then goes back into his hutch as the four of you move past and into the maze, which shifts, and we would see it from a bird's eye view shifting appropriately to allow you to take the shortest route to the area where the wheel is. Now, in here, you can once per campaign do a long rest as a short rest, if you wish.
Once per campaign, once per Quura.
Once per Quura.
Well,
You
now
can
would be
choose
the
to do that
time.
now, or you can potentially use it later on.
This has big, like a single player, like Final Fantasy, vibes where it's like you're about to go to a point of no return. Are you sure?
Yeah.
Make
Yeah.
sure all your
You
side quests
actually
are
already
completed.
clicked that thing at
Yeah.
the end of the last episode we did with these characters. That was the thing that came up, and then you were like, "Oh, what does that say?" Going forward, and then I clicked yes, and then when we did the little flashback with the other characters. But yes, that is essentially kind of a thing that's happening here, but also is a mechanic that you can use. You can draw from the power of the wheel and the arcane energy here as a nexus point. It is the tower is of course in superposition in 99 different places at once, so you can split that energy and that time and that rest using this nexus point, but it's extremely dangerous and it will take a toll on you if you were to try and do it again. It'll probably simply kill you. You probably have to wait a year or something. So really it's once per year. We'll say once per year you can do this.
I don't think Sia does. I think Sia leaves them go, and then he just goes into a meditative. He meditates in the night void.
Well,
meditative
here's the
state.
thing. I don't think that once we leave this tower, we will be getting back in it.
I think for different reasons than he doesn't go. He doesn't need to. And so he won't. I won't.
So, sorry, are we going to take advantage of this?
Yes, of course we are. It would be ridiculous not to.
Yes. before I do, I am going to cast a spell. I'm going to cast contingency.
Okay.
Essentially what this does is it holds a spell that will be cast on me when a certain thing happens. So the certain thing, can I give it to you in a DM?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm, for RP purposes, I'm just like casting a spell. And then I say, okay, I'm ready.
One last tea for the road.
I
Sorry,
actually also need to send a DM.
You all just do a quick doom scroll on your phones, send a couple of DMs, check a couple of TikToks, check your emails. So yeah, anyone that wants to DM me anything you're doing during this short long rest, do it now. Jilden makes tea for everyone.
Got to go back to the basics.
One last tea. And which ones of you are utilizing the long rest situation?
Yes.
Yeah, I would.
Everyone but myself, I think. I just need a short rest anyway to get back to full.
In my notes when I wrote this thing, whenever it was, maybe a week ago, I wrote, once per year you can rest within the presence of the wheel and receive the effects of a long rest in the same time as it take for a short rest. And then I wrote, Sia, Cirrus, Leah, Thrak.
Great.
So that I could like mark which ones of you use it when. So that's where my brain was at that day. All right. I see a DM from Myre, Orcish, and Mirggles. So now I know which three of you actually like me. Which one of you doesn't?
On the contrary, I feel like not giving you a DM in the middle of the show is the opposite.
That's true, actually.
That's a good point.
You're my
That's a very
only
good
friend.
point. You're welcome.
Okay. Orcish, yes. And this is Mirggles. This is exactly what Leah just said. This
know.
actually just fully proves
I know.
Leah's point.
Yeah.
All right, you guys RP amongst yourselves for a while
This
while I
is-
figure out
okay.
what.
Excellent.
Jilden makes you a cup of tea, and I actually just want to see that scene, to be honest.
Yep.
Okay.
Sia, would you like a cup?
I think. Are you?
You
are we
always
at
say no.
Are we at
Right.
the wheel right now? Because I explicitly do not want to go back.
This will
to
be
the
just
wheel.
before we rest, I think. So let's just say we're RPing out just before the rest. So maybe not the wheel.
Very well. In that case, it
Make it as
depends
a nightcap.
wholeheartedly on what's in it this time.
This looks pretty good actually. I've got a bunch of herbs and things from the tower, so lots of good fresh stuff from all around. Mostly it seems to be just wild thyme, and a little bit of pepper thrown in, a little bit of ginger for the heart. A few other small things that actually to you might look quite delicious. It's all very natural and no weird things like drops of blood or dead worms or anything like that, like sometimes get slipped in.
Wild time.
The equivalent
I
in whatever
see
this land
what
is.
you did there. Very well. I'll
Yes.
oblige.
It's good for you. There we go. I give him his cup. It might be the end of the world.
It has been the end of the world.
It might be the final end of the world.
I suppose
Well-
right now all we're doing is writing the epilogue.
Either way, it is the end of us, at the very least. Regardless of the outcome.
In what way?
Well, we're dead. We're on borrowed time.
We've been dead.
We've
Yes,
never sat down to think about it and process it, have we? Just us three.
I'm mixing a potion while they're chatting.
We'd be within hearing range as well if you wanted to listen in.
What does that mean for you, sir?
I wonder what it means for me. It's not what I thought it would be. Then again, those we've come across seem quite perplexed by our situation. I'm not sure what I expected. I don't like it, though. Every moment that
Why?
passes, I feel different. Not a good different. I don't feel better. I don't feel worse either, but I look it. Look at my face. It's not quite aging, is it? It's like when you leave a ham on like a cooler or something for too long.
Drying out.
Drying out. Quite.
Perhaps that's a good job. There are no live animals left. They might find you quite delicious.
Did you just equate me to jerky?
I would
No,
never
you're
be
much
so
more
crushed
moist than that.
for now. I suppose all of us are sharing the same fate. But I'm most curious to know if you have any regrets.
I don't believe that I've lived a life that has given me the opportunity to have regrets.
Is that a regret in itself?
I wonder. I don't believe so. If so, it's not a regret for me to have. For I never had a choice to begin with.
Do you think your entire path was preordained?
No. It just was not under my power to do anything about.
How so?
How so indeed.
There's nothing left to keep a secret, surely.
Who are we but our stories? Our secrets?
Our
What fun would I
companions.
have if I was to give it
Or-
all away?
Well, I mean, I suppose it's a matter of perspective, but don't you think a story shared is one held? Your story can continue on in the hands of others.
Dear companion, did you not just say our stories have all ended already?
No, you know what I meant, Seer.
Did I?
Besides, it's you that said we're writing the epilogue.
Right, so why go
Would you
back
like to
the
be written
start?
in or out?
We're all very much in it, are we not?
I would at least like to understand you before I die by your side.
That's interesting. Quite out of character, almost. You know, in our several months of being together on this quest, this curse, whatever you may call it, I don't believe we've spoken this long. Even back
That is
in...
not true.
Oh, I mean, come
We've had
on.
conversations. I've
We've
sought
spoken.
answers from you.
Right.
And I admit I was preoccupied much of that time.
Understandably.
I
I
do
look
not
up at
pretend to be
Jilden.
anything other than I am.
Does she still have the red blood smears on her face?
Yes, but they are largely fading at this point through battle-worn chaos and through the fact that you haven't seen me. Usually every night at camp, you'd see me reach into a vial on my side, pull it out, dip my fingers in, and renew. But in fact, the vial has run empty. There's nothing left in it, and I haven't renewed it in a while. So in fact, most of this would be extremely faded by now.
Hmm. I looked at both of them. They're drying out, half selves, eyes sallow with fatigue and whatever this curse of undeath is. Ugh, I say to them.
I huff a laugh.
All right. Where I come from, I say, conversation like this isn't the norm, shall we say. Being frank isn't something that we do very often. Moreover, frankness is almost seen as perhaps a sign of something quite awry. Much of the time, actually, frankness is seen as perhaps a sign of weakness or something more. A man or woman who may perhaps be running towards their doom, who knows their time is up, might be just a little bit more frank. Might give a truth or two here and there. Might reveal a secret. But come to think of it, I'm already dead. So you get one.
I looked at Cirrus.
I'm acting so cool and chill and normal about what's happening right now. My face is stony, but my eyes dart to you as well, quickly.
One question, one reveal.
Now, was that a question?
For somebody dead who sure have a lot of chat.
That's all I have left.
Glad to see you haven't lost who you are.
And I look almost sad for a moment, I think.
You think
Or
so?
have you?
I have to say that our time together here has done some things to me I don't think I would have ever seen coming. Even before leaving to Moon. Conversation with non-drow. Not even non-drow. Elves, even. Very, uncommon. Distasteful. However, I suppose time in your company has made me perhaps rethink as to why. Maybe perhaps part of that's because I'm a bit of an endangered species now, but perhaps maybe it's also because maybe. I don't know. I've had time to think.
Thrak at his little alchemy table is sat down, and he pulls out of his bag of holding a big great axe that you may have recognized being hung in his room, and he starts to sharpen it.
So, I say, leaning on one leg, what will it be?
What do you think, Jilden?
I think I have never been interested enough in another person to even bother asking questions. I don't even know what to ask.
All right, well, I can ask a question.
Very well.
What was your best and worst day?
Ooh. Those are two questions.
Well, I did use the word and, so I think it brings it into one.
My best and worst day. My best and worst day. I've had quite a few. Many of which I suppose rank amongst each other. However, once upon a time, I recall a day of betrayal. And not of my own doing. I kind of pull a face, almost as if I'm disappointed. Not one I saw coming either. Not from who I thought it was coming from anyway. Suffice it to say, it cost me my place in Mensa Baranzan. And the lives of several family members, I think. Banishment. And taking on this gossamer cloth you see before you hear this robe. Followed by about 40 years old. About a fortnight, really. Of becoming someone different, but the same. I've spared the gory details, but that was my worst day, I think. My best day. My best day. My face scrunches at the word best. That depends. Best from whose perspective? We're not quite. And it's been grating at me this entire time. I looked at Thrak, I looked at Jilden, and Cirrus, back to Thrak. Best is very subjective.
Of course it is. That's why we want your answer.
Your best.
My best. I see. Well, everything prior to becoming a monk led to me becoming a monk. So perhaps none of that matters. None of that can be classed as good, really, by anyone's standards. After becoming a monk, well, that was a whole different kind of torture now, wasn't it? Suffice it to say that perhaps I didn't have any good days then either. At least not by your standards. I want to say that my best day was when that Darrow tried to use that bangle that Thrak made and killed himself. That was hilarious.
Now, you see, Seer, how much fonder I feel.
Fonder.
Thank you. Yes, I'm fond of you. I'm fond of all of you.
I suppose we're already dead, I say, under my breath.
And you answered two questions anyway.
I give a half-lidded smile.
There's a noise from the doorway as Hard steps in. He sort of sniffs the air and says,
Who is making tea?
Would you like a cup? I hope you don't mind. I may have taken some things.
Yes, I would like a tea, please. Stir it anti-clockwise. It tastes better.
Which way is anti-clockwise?
You see me stirring it, and I just go.
he glances over at Thrak with the axe, glances to Seer, make sure to sort of catch Seer's eye, or at least one of his many eyes, but turns and speaks to Cirrus and says,
A word, please, cleric.
Take your tea. Don't forget your tea.
Yes, thank you very much.
Most welcome.
Delicious.
I know.
Certainly. I get up and I follow him.
he sort of steps away. You guys could probably still hear what they're talking about if you wish to, but you know, they sort of step away from you. Seer, he wags his index finger down slightly towards you as he turns and walks away, with Cirrus giving you a sort of knowing look. He looks to you, Cirrus, as they step away, as the two of them step away from the rest of the group. He says,
The first time you were here in the wheel, you connected with it with your hand, yes?
Yes, that is correct.
Do you mind if I look at your hand?
Of course. I
have
raise it up.
been curious. Did Thrak look at it?
No.
No, that's good. Yes, very good. Okay. Please do not be alarmed by my touch. Sometimes it will create, Versenvart, or the static shock.
It's fine.
he grabs your wrist. There is no static shock, but his hands are very cold to the touch. As he sort of turns your hand over, you see his eyes they sort of shift in color. Well, they shift in vibrance, really. They go from a kind of a creamy white to a dull kind of grey for a moment. His hands, however, shift from the sort of dull grey skin color to more of a cream. And then he lets your hand go and says,
Yes, it is how I suspected. Have you experienced anything out of the ordinary since your contact with the wheel?
I'm scanning back at all of the out of the ordinary things that have happened in the last however
you want to
long.
give me a history check?
Yes. I do. I remember the House of Knowledge and looking into the mirror. I think that keeps popping up in my mind. Sorry, 1 second. 21.
Yeah, it's every time you use your hand when you connect with the ground and try and connect with Voriel. Okay. It has enhanced your connection with Voriel and the other angels. To a massive degree, I think. It's just given you such extreme clarity and understanding of that. What was before borderline just belief, and faith, has become a much more tangible connection that you've been able to draw upon. It's a very loose ability, but you do have something there, I think.
I think the reason why it takes me a second and why I had to do this roll is because I think a part of me just assumed that was a natural development of my journey on this journey. Like, the more dedicated I was to the path that Voriel put me on, the more connected I was to Voriel. So I think maybe there's like an element of faith that kind of keeps me from recognizing that right away.
Make
when
an
I say-
Arcana check.
Ooh, okay. 17.
You that is potentially the case. You can sort of majorly high ancient clerics of the world over will have different connections to their angels, and the angels in general, and the divine, which, you know, several believe to be a connection that's great. That isn't really the angel, it's the god. You know, some say that they're connecting to the angel connects to the god, and it's just a, you know, like a what is that called? It's just steps.
A link, yeah. That's
What you have is sort of you've sped up that process. There's an element to the fact that your soul is so old that it provides you with some natural power, like a sorcerer, and natural affinity to magic, or maybe weapons, or, you know, speed and strength and things. But the exposure, the direct exposure to the mana pool that sits underneath the wheel has essentially supercharged that faith, that belief, that connection, which is a real thing that you would have if you spent 100 years and remained as a devout cleric. You would potentially just achieve anyway. Thor's is probably on there. You know, he's got a little touch of that. He seems to be able to directly connect with Boreal. And you will have heard of other clerics around the world, just even before coming to Moon, having the same kind of ability. High clerics can do crazy things. So it is, you are correct. But there is also a scientific answer, you know, it's the same thing. Where there is, you've supercharged it, and it is focused in your hand. Your hand is your spellcasting focus for this ability that allows you to sort of connect with your god and also just sort of enhance varying things. It is the cleric equivalent to Thrax's weave, you know, beautiful mind stuff that he does. You have it too, but it doesn't work in the same way. He comes at it pure logic and is able to sort of just break everything apart and retroactively extrapolate information from it. Whereas yours is just pure feeling and thought and emotion and, you know, soul. So both things are kind of correct here. But I think you finally understand that in this moment, maybe. Or have come to that conclusion over this period of time, because you didn't just know this, you've had to use the ability and test it and recognize that it doesn't just always work, and that's, you know, you were just doing tests.
Okay, I relay some of that back to Hod. I feel closer to Voriel and connect to the earth with my hand.
Yes. It is as I suspected. You have access to a whole new level of divination. I suspect due to your connection with the gods and the angels and the ancient soul that rests within you.
His enormous Goliath hand kind of just punches you in the chest. You know, it's nothing for you. You know, you're strong enough to be able to weather it, but he sort of does it unconsciously as he mentions that. He says,
I would like you to try something. When we return to Moon, if you would be willing to trust me.
Yes, all right.
We are going to ask Thrak to turn the wheel to bring us to Moon. I would like perhaps if you were to turn the wheel together. I would like to test something. Since this might be our last chance, I would like to try and enhance the strength of the tower using your abilities and Threk.
Okay. All right.
It may take a toll on you. Threk has studied for a long time to be able to attune to something as powerful as this tower. You have not. You are strong, and I simply do not know whether this is going to do something harmful to you or not. But I believe if you are able to use your ability and Threk's, perhaps you can create something special of the tower that we might be able to use in this final fight. This place, it is an artifact like the spear. I don't know if it is as old as the spear. I don't know if it is older, but it isn't the same thing. It is something else. I believe it is from somewhere else.
It's made of stone, right?
Looks like it, but it also rooms randomly will completely change when you step through a wooden door from a stone room and into another room.
Yeah, but is there stone on the wall right now?
Yeah.
I would like to go over and put my hand on the stone.
Okay, give me a wisdom check. Hard watches you, and there's a little smile curling up on his lips as he watches you become
No.
a wizard
11.
in your approach to seeking knowledge. He looks at you
11.
expectantly, but doesn't say anything as you place your hand to the stone of this. You can feel the immense power of this construct, this artifact. The tower is an item, you know. It is a magical item. The arcane energy that comes back to you is the same as you might feel off of any magical item, though. It isn't necessarily the same. It doesn't feel like the divine energy that you are used to wielding and controlling. It doesn't feel like the same divine energy that you connect to Boreal with. It feels arcane in nature, but not divine.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's about all you get from it, really.
Okay. Huh. You said that it would take a toll. How much?
I do not know, but anybody who tries to use the wheel before they are ready will be hurt. Sometimes it is as what happened with Threk. He was simply rejected and drawn in at the same time. A few days of rest, you will be fine. Others have been reduced to ash, others vanished. Perhaps you will have a headache, perhaps you will feel nothing. I'm afraid it is not as simple as black and white.
You can understand, though, my hesitation as we go into this fight. This could potentially remove me from it.
Yes. But Thors predicted a lot of this. It is true. My powers with a crystal ball are not... It is not my forte. Perhaps some that came before would have been better suited to this task in Ragnarok than myself. I should have spent less time studying the other schools, perhaps. More time on divination, more time on necromancy. I did not. Thors knew this was coming, but Thors also claims it is wrong. It is partly the end of the world, partly Ragnarok, but there are other portents that never came to pass. Something is wrong with it, and we know now that part of the reason is that this is not our angel Mordriel. The only other thing in this world that I suspect does not belong is this tower. My theory is that it is a key. Something placed here for this moment to help us by someone older and wiser than all. And I can see no other way of understanding how this device works than by combining your unique ability and Threx. And how long do we have to test such things? We are out of time. We are going to travel to Moon, give the spear to the dragon, and if the dragon is able to fell our foe, all will be well. If not, what do we have? You will fight this creature. The other Quura are dead. My hope is for this tower. Force has his faith in you. And I have my faith in you as a group, but not in this task. I believe, with all of the evidence laid out, you cannot defeat this creature. Not with the spear, not with the hand, or with Thrax's abilities, with the weave. It is not enough. I see only one route out of this. It is this tower, this place I have called my home, this place I have studied since I was a baby. I place my faith in the tower as you place yours in the mountain. So I ask you this. One small favor. That you try. For me and my life's work, and on the chance that perhaps maybe this tower offers us an alternative to the certain death that awaits us on Black Wings.
I'm looking at him, and I'm feeling pity a little bit. It feels yeah, he's asking me to do something out of a desperation for what he believes to be the most important thing, which is his work in the tower. I don't think... Yeah, I mean... Yeah, I just look at him and I say, can you give me some time to think about it? A few moments. At the very least.
Of course. I will leave you to rest. When you are all feeling strong enough, regardless of how you feel about the wheel, then We must hurry to Moon. There is no time. That thing. The winter will not hold back the dead any longer.
I am aware.
Thank you for considering this. I know that myself and Thors, Oswald and the others placed a lot on your shoulders. On their shoulders. I hope you know that. I believe if we had had another 5 or 6 months, you would have all been unstoppable.
Maybe I reach out and I put a hand on his shoulder. I know he's much taller than me, so wait, is that super awkward physically? It'd be
Hard
like-
is actually quite a small Goliath.
Oh,
He's-
okay.
He's slightly shorter and thinner. He's a bit like Thors. Thors is smaller because he's old. Hard is sort of naturally the runt of the litter. So he's actually he's a little shorter and a little thinner. And you place a hand on his shoulder. He, like you, has one arm in a sling. And it is the skin on his other arm is sort of mottled and blackened from sort of a necrosis. It's almost sort of turned to stone though. It doesn't look like it's like dying and necrotic. It just looks like it was burned and remained in a charred bark state. And as you place a hand to his shoulder, you feel that he is quite thin under there. He's quite a small being, and you also get the sense that he is dying. He is a dying being. It's not just his arm that was affected. He, through and through, has been dying since interfacing with Mordril. And he has been holding forward a particular front and probably manually through some arcane means allowing himself to remain conscious and alive. But when you place a hand to his shoulder and you feel this small, thin person under there, you sense him kind of stiffen up for a second and then relax as he blinks. A long blink, opens his eyes, nods to you and says,
Rest. Now, if you need anything, there are endless storerooms somewhere down here. You will find all that you need, I would imagine.
All right.
But beware the cheese.
he says very loudly. Everyone can hear, as if you've been having a long conversation about bread and cheese.
I would like to casually, off-screen, ask him if he happens to have an object engraved with the symbol of the Outer Planes. The symbol of the Outer Planes.
I will look for you.
Thank you. Thank you. Before he goes, I'll say, you know, you chose a good disciple in Thrak. If he has the power that I know he does, your work in this tower will last a very long time.
I suspect so, as well.
A slight smile as he turns and leaves the room.
I would like to go back to my companions and immediately tell them what he just asked me. Yeah. Because, like,
give me
Quura.
an insight check.
Oh, okay.
Just
Okay.
a casual insight check.
Just casual. I mean, I assume he doesn't want me to tell them, and that's why he, like, pulled me aside and was like... 19.
You get the sense that he was trying to keep it from Thrak more so than the other two.
Oh.
Every time he was speaking, he was glancing over at Thrak a lot, making sure that Thrak was concentrating on his whetstone or whatever he's using to sharpen his axe.
Sorry, Hod, but I choose the Quura, and I have to. I can't. Yeah. Yeah, I go back to them and sit down, reach out for a cup of tea. I must speak with you all about something. Hod believes that there is an opportunity as we travel back in the tower, given the abilities that both Thrak and I have, our exposure, my exposure to the pool, that we may be able to awaken something within the tower if I assist with the move.
Awaken something.
He has a theory that the tower is an artifact much like the spear, and that its existence in our world may be a counterweight or counterbalance to the events that are happening right now. He wishes for us to try to see if we can make more of this tower if it is yearning for such a thing. The problem is that attuning with the tower could be difficult for me. It might not, but it might.
And in so doing, what? What if we had more of these towers?
It's not about having more of the towers. I think it's about making the tower, I don't know, impenetrable, a weapon. I'm not sure. I don't think he's sure either. It's a theory and a hope by a man who is often very correct in his theories and hopes, I suppose. But like I said, there is risk that it could be difficult on me.
What is the
I think
cost exactly?
It is unknown. I could be fine. It could give me a headache, or it could knock me out for days. I'm not sure.
Or
I do believe him when he says that this tower could be a salvation for those who wish to leave. And I do believe it important that we give, if we have the ability to do so, the option for people to be able to leave this world and not die. I'm telling you all because I believe it is a decision that we must make together. As Quura, I look to Seer. No secrets.
no promises.
I believe it is, could be considered another weapon in the arsenal, or creating another option where it may be hard to find one.
It feels to me almost as if this person did not give you the full rundown, necessarily.
Do not think he knows more himself.
He might do.
I trust that he would not be withholding at a time like this. his frankness and what he believed would happen when we face Mordriel is indication enough to me.
I
You
think
had
that
no reason to lie.
specificity is important in a situation like this, no? An advantage means what exactly?
Perhaps the tower becomes a beacon. Perhaps it creates a new energy that can bind with the spear and end Mordriel for good. Perhaps it becomes powerful enough to ferry people out of here. And even that
Forgive
might
me.
be enough.
Forgive me for perhaps speaking too much. I don't want to speak on other people's behalves. However, you've used the word perhaps quite often. A lot, even. And
Well, he doesn't know and I don't know. That's what it is.
And are you willing to risk whatever it is for a perhaps?
I don't think there's anything about this situation that is not a perhaps. That's why I come to you all. Your guidance.
Personally,
Yes, please.
I don't believe I've ever acted on perhaps in my life. However, I'm dead now, as we have pointed out quite a number of times now. Things have changed. Stakes have changed. I'm curious to know what the other two think.
Thrak.
Thrak
So many
is sort of.
strange creatures in this place.
It's a Darrow dressed in a fur.
With a tail.
Orange Darrow.
Oh, do you know where the Finger Lakes are?
That's what she's asking.
Thrak is, he's still sharpening his axe. And, Odd never speaks unless it's important. He certainly doesn't tell you anything of substance unless it's extremely important.
Yes, I got that sense. It is important for him, Thrak.
There is no doubt power here, the likes of which I believe even Mordriel could not compete with. How much of it we could tap is unknown. But we could try.
All right.
We should do it now, before we rest. Perhaps if it goes wrong and you are incapacitated, we could use the power here that helps us recover quicker.
I thought about that, but I believe that once we land in Moon, we'll be landing at the door of a battlefield, and we may not have the time to rest. Oh, yeah.
You're already like way into the short rest. So if you do something strenuous like this, casting spells and all that kind of stuff, you'll reset the rest.
Okay.
Just to let you know.
So we have to wait.
Because
we are into it.
Yeah,
Okay,
I mean,
didn't know that.
you've practically been. This whole episode has basically been in real time. You've almost done an hour's worth of resting just by sitting and listening to Seer and stuff. So talking to Hard and listening to Seer's stories and things has been a good portion of your rest. If you do anything in the rest time that is strenuous activity, which this would be, it would end that rest, and then you'd have to do it. You'd have to restart the rest, which is a thing you can totally do, but there is a world clock, if you remember, based on when you take rests, which is essentially just a little like JRPG retro 16-bit Mordrill flying towards a little 16-bit moon. So time is legit an issue for you here, but just so you're aware, I'm leaving again. Please carry on.
I'm gonna say that
You're almost at the end of
pretty
the
much
rest, though.
finished it.
Yeah, you are.
Okay. So then I don't say that part, and I just say it might be worth it.
All right. I will do it. Jilden, actually, what do you think?
So long as whatever he wants does not stop us from doing what we need to do, I don't care.
I promise that if it is in my power to do so, nothing will tear me from this.
There will be nobody left to operate such a place to do anything with it if Mordor succeeds either way. It will always be our priority.
All right. All right. Okay, I think I'm gonna do it. So, this is not in character, but I'm giving finger guns out of character.
It's absolutely in character.
Well,
one finger gun, which is
what's the other one?
Sincerely more threatening. All right. Show me the way, Thrak.
Yeah, I bring her over to the. I bring her over to the pool that she used before.
Okay.
And I would say, you already have a connection with this place here, with your hands. This is where you should attempt to attune with it.
Didn't Hod say that I had to like turn the wheel with him, or is it to put my hand back in this?
No, yeah. In order to move the tower, you have to literally turn that giant
wheel together.
And yeah, he was suggesting that you. So for Thrak, when he turns the wheel, I mean, you do an Arcana check, but you can also access the weave. It's the same thing for this, and then you just kind of just tell it where to go. He's suggesting that at the same time, Cirrus sort of activates her divine hand to see what happens. He just wants to, get the two alembics and pour them in.
The wheel is nearby, so
Yeah, the wheel is in this room, yeah.
so I can use the wheel and she can use the pool that she used before, right? Or did he say
No, you don't want to touch
both
that.
have to use the
She,
wheel.
The pool is battery acid. You it's pure mana. She when she did that before, it was to just boost the thing. He's suggesting that the
Right,
two of you
okay.
turn the wheel physically at the same
together.
time.
Okay. All right. Then I say that, and I get on like I stand up next to it and motion for her to stand with me.
Perhaps if you could tell me what it feels like, I might be able to withstand some of the negative effects. You give me an idea of what to expect.
It's a strange sensation. It feels as though the paint that depicts us inside the tower runs into the paint that depicts the tower itself. If that makes sense.
I think it makes a little less sense than you think it does, but I guess I'm following.
Right. You sort of lose a bit of yourself. You have to remain on course. Do not be tempted. As I was.
So is it as you were?
Yes.
Right. So, am I to let go, or am I to hold fast?
Hold to... Oh. That's an interesting question. You are not going to be using it as I would. What feels more natural to you?
More natural to me. I often don't think that what feels natural to me is the right way.
When you use your power to connect to Boreal, are you holding fast or are you letting go?
Under Boreal's gaze, I become nothing. He has access to all of me. Wide open. Like a gust of wind through an empty sky. Over the peaks.
And while you are gusting, you still have a objective in mind? Yes?
I suppose it's almost as if I turn it over to him. I say, here is all of me. Return me to myself if you desire, if you choose. But I think you're right. I think continuing that way is likely the best way to do it.
Well, if we are to do this together, perhaps you should let yourself go, and I will guide us. I will hold fast.
I trust you. I will do it this way.
And after this, I would look to her and say, "Are you ready?"
I look back at Jilden and Seer, and I'm nervous. But then I turn back to you and I give a curt nod. Yes.
And after this extremely touching moment, I tap a button next to the wheel, and like a pipe comes down next to my face, and I grab it, and I everyone in the tower, please prepare. We are about to move.
Oh, gosh, that again.
Doom, doom, doom.
Yeah, the Darrow upstairs going nuts.
Fingerlands! House of Fingerlands!
About going,
Are we
finally
finally
going to the
going?
Fingerlands. Okay. You prepare yourselves. Hard appears in the doorway. He has something in his hand, but he puts it in a pocket as he watches the two of you begin to work. He just sort of leans against the doorway. Seems very casual, watching the two of you as you begin to turn the wheel.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So the last time you did this, it was like breaking and non-functioning. So it was like flipping out, and the whole room was spazzing out. And you had to put your hand into the pool to sort of hold an enchantment in place. You both of you don't have to go through that same experience this time. Thrak, with an understanding of the weave now, you understand that you simply have to push this wheel, and almost just whatever your version of will it to go to moon is essentially what you need to do. You need to make me an Arcana check as you begin, the two of you, to turn the wheel.
I feel like, as a chronology wizard and one who has used this before, I probably should be able to use some advantage here. What do you think?
You can roll it with advantage because you're in the tower and you're using the wave.
Excellent. All right. 29.
Everything that you're trying to do here, you do almost perfectly. It is your understanding of this nexus point, and how it works, and how the artifact works, how the wheel works, how it draws its energy, falls into place for you with an understanding as you slowly begin to push this wheel, and it starts to however, next to you, Cirrus, what are you thinking and feeling going into this? You don't need to make me an Arcana check.
Oh, I don't? Okay. I thought you said both of you need to make me an Arcana check.
No, just Thrax Arcana.
Okay. Thank God.
Yeah. Thrax at the wheel, as in the turn. He's driving the car.
Yes. I'm a passenger princess.
You got the map. You know,
Yeah.
upside down. Sitting there.
Okay, what am I thinking about?
Yeah.
I am choosing to approach this. I assume the reason why Hod has asked me to do this, and it's leaning into the way that I've been functioning with Quura as well, is just making the assumption that I am here in this moment for a reason. So the way that I interface with magic, in my case it's divine magic, is the way I'm going to approach this. I'm not going to try and meet Thrak at his game or try to understand the tower in an arcane wizard-like way. I'm going to let the tower Okay, like when I put my hand on the ground and I'm connecting to the earth, I'm connecting to the stone that eventually always leads to Voriel. Everything is connected in one passage. And this tower thrusts up from that ground. It is made of stone, and it is a being much like Voriel. And when I try to connect with Voriel, I am trying to connect with that essence and being as it is. So in a certain sense, I'm trying to divinely connect with this tower so it can tell me who it is and what it needs of me, what I can give it to, find its way.
Okay, make me a wisdom check.
$19.
The wheel begins to turn. As it turns, you feel this just sort of sensation. It's like a dissociation feeling. As you're pushing this thing, it feels as if you're kind of... Your spirit and your body have been separated once before. You're simply possessing your body right now. You're not an undead, but you are a live soul and spirit possessing your previous form and holding it together by pure arcane will. The sensation of pushing this wheel feels as if the spirit part of yourself is pushing this thing and leaving your physical body behind. To the eye, that isn't what we see. We see you pushing this thing next to Thrak. The mana pool underneath the turning cogs and pulley system of this strange room begins to lift up, crackling and sparkling. Hard uncrosses his arms and steps up, kind of looking around the room as this kind of arc of electricity rushes up out of the mana pool and then pierces Thrak, pierces you, pierces Sia, and pierces Jilden. This electricity continues to run through the four of you. I need wisdom saving throws from Sia and Jilden, please.
Sia didn't want to be in here, but I think maybe perhaps...
It doesn't matter where you are.
Okay.
You can be upstairs if you want, laying on a bed, sitting on the toilet. An arc of electricity strikes you.
The spider web.
Sitting up in the pulley system, upside down.
There's a natural 1 from me.
A natural 1 from you and a natural 20 from Sia. This electricity rushes through Thrak, piercing through your sternum, through your heart. It doesn't feel like anything at first. It rushes through Cirrus, doesn't feel like anything. Rushes across the room towards Jilden. Doesn't feel like anything. And then it rushes elsewhere. If you're not in this room, where are you, Sia?
I'm flossing my teeth with a spider web somewhere.
Yeah. This electricity sort of appears and sits in your chest. It starts to feel heavy, like it's pulling you down. Like gravity in the room suddenly starts to get increasingly more heavy. Cirrus, you for a moment here understand everything. That this place, this nexus is not a tower, it's an endless sea. It is just simply drawn to a single point and focused. Harnessing this power is not just the ability to move from tower to tower, it's the power to move through time and space, a combination. But there's more. At the edge of your understanding, its power is infinite. The arcane hum of the tower begins to shift. Thrak, as far as you are able to tell here, everything is going fine. What is happening with this electricity and this arcing thing seems to be just exclusively going on with Cirrus and the tower, but it is clearly arcing through all four of you. However, you have a job to do. You're kind of spinning every plate you can imagine right now as you continue to push this thing. There are no real distortions to the tower, but you recognize that your perspective of where you are in the superposition shifts from Ku to Moon, and the wheel turns and locks into place. Now, thanks to Sia, the four of you understand something else about this place. The 99 towers have always been 101. The first that was built was the machine that brought it here, and brought it there, and brought it there. The first became 3. The first one no longer exists. The ones that are broken around Gaia 1 are completely broken. They cannot be accessed. There is a pocket that isn't really a tower, but is almost an energy signature that you would recognize. All four of you, by the way, understand this in this moment. All four of you, eyes rolling up into the back of your head, have this understanding. There is one tower on Gaia 0, the world that Mordreal is from, that is just a husk, a dead world, covered in undead and nothing. There is one that no longer exists. There are 99 here in Gaia, several of which are broken. And then there is this pocket of energy that is an energy signature, as the four of you sense a third world, a divine place, the world of the gods. And Cirrus finally, after trying all of this time and asking the question, where are they? You find them. And then that sensation completely leaves you. All of that understanding comes down from that kind of out-of-body experience of like just full DMT trip, understanding how the world works, and just condenses down into the world. You understand that there's another world. The tower shifts to Moon. The arcing electricity coming up out of this pool of mana dissipates. The four of you feel completely fine. You rolled high enough on your check, Cirrus, that it wasn't a failure. I will say that failure table was pretty rough. But you don't suffer any failures. You all feel completely fine after that, but you also have the understanding of everything that I told you. Hard, standing behind you, looks around the room at the three of you that are in here. Seer is upstairs in Thrak's ensuite, and he says,
"Are you okay?"
The third. It's the third. Did you feel that, Thrak?
Yes.
I whip around to Hod. There's a third place, a third world, a pocket, like a sphere of nothingness, but not nothing because it is the gods.
The gods.
The gods. There's a direct link. The towers can connect to the gods.
He glances at you, Thrak. He shoots you a look. Give me an insight check with advantage because you know him.
He's like, this religious crazy person.
Pretty much.
She's nuts, right? An insight check with advantage. I've gotten a 5.
Yeah, he just shoots you a look. You don't know what it means. It's
I feel like I would.
It's probably just like, you know, is she just being a religious nut right now, or is she telling the truth?
Yeah. Do I know how to get to this place?
Roll me an Arcana check. You have advantage.
A 31.
Damn.
Oh my god.
Okay. Remind me never to do a high level campaign again. Hand over my notes at this point.
You gave me like proficiency with Arcana as well.
I mean, yeah, that was kind of the point of accessing the weave. Yeah, accessing the weave is accessing my DM notes, basically. It's essentially what happens every time.
I'm just peeking over your shoulder the whole campaign.
Yeah.
What's that mean?
Yeah, you understand a couple of things about this. You would be able to turn the wheel of the tower to access this place in the same way that you've just shifted it from Ku to Moon. And it would simply take the tower there. What it is, however, is potentially, and most likely, and I say potentially because you don't understand how this tower works. The weave isn't enough because the tower predates the weave. The moving the tower to that pocket to go to the third world would do what happened with the first tower to the existing ones on both Gaias. So the one single tower on Gaia 0 and the 99 here would be reduced to nothing. And by nothing, I don't just mean they like crumble down. They literally like phase out of existence and become completely inaccessible. They just no longer exist. So it's a kind of a one-way trip if you shift this tower over there.
And, but there is a tower on the old Gaia, is there not?
There is.
So will it leave one behind here as well?
No. There was one tower. That one vanished and created 100 more. 99 here, one on the other side. But these 100 are all still that one tower, split 100 ways in superposition over the two worlds. So moving this tower to that third world again will consolidate all those 100, including the one on Gaia, into one again, removing them from both of these two worlds onto that fourth world, I guess we'll call it, really.
Yeah. Okay. I look at Hod and say, I could take us there, but we may never be able to come back. At least not immediately. It would be a long shot for me to study how to recreate what happened a long time ago.
Well, what are we waiting for? Push.
Well, you want us to leave everyone in Moon?
What are you suggesting? We get them all? Bring them into the tower, I suppose. Technically it could work, but what if we bring the things in with us? What if the Dracolich figures it out?
Then I suppose it's a race against time.
What if we just condemn another world to Mordrill's terror?
That is why we must go now. Mordrill cannot follow the tower,
Yeah, but
How do we know
Mordrill-
that?
because he has not been able to so far.
So far.
I don't think he can. I'm willing to bet everything on it.
Why don't we just pack him up in the tower and send him to the gods then?
Isn't that what he wants?
Yes. Give him what he wants and they can end his plight.
What happens if he destroys all of them?
He won't.
Why
It's
should we
impossible.
care?
Because what happens if all of the gods are killed?
Well, I suppose the gods have forsaken us once already. What does it matter if
Have
they're
they
killed again?
forsaken us if they are out there? Perhaps.
What's to stop him just coming back and finishing the job here anyway?
The gods cannot be killed. They would smite him. They're perhaps the only beings who could. Aside
We're
from
making a lot of
us.
assumptions.
The gods
I
are the
believe
ones
that's
who
what they
gave
call
you this
faith.
prophecy.
The gods
We
are the
need-
ones who chose us.
We need to kill him. It is the only way. And if we are left standing at the end of it, we take this tower, we leave this godforsaken place and find this third place. But there are too many whats and buts and ifs, and he needs to die.
Speaking of what's, buts, and ifs, if we were to go to this third Gaia, what's to say that what awaits us there doesn't want us dead as well?
Can I just need to clarify. It's not a third Gaia, right? It's just a third place where the gods reside.
Yeah. So there was.
There's no like planet. It's just the pocket area where the gods happen to be.
There are two Gaias that seem to be clone worlds.
Yeah.
You know, for all intents and purposes, they would just look like Earth, a water-covered, you know, area with this enormous Pangea, which is what you guys live on, with a handful of little islands on the edge. And they look exactly the same. This third place was more. I don't think you got a sense that it was a third clone of Gaia, but I
Yeah,
also don't think
no.
you got a sense of what it was either.
It's
I don't know.
serious
Can I-
interpretation.
Yeah, I don't know if you know
Yeah.
whether it's like, whether it is a clone of Gaia, whether it looks like something else, or whether it's a plane, or you know, whatever.
When Seer says Gaia, he just means like how we would say Earth.
No, for sure. I do have a question though. Is this place, if this tower can move there but only once, does it mean, could it be that the gods are trapped there? That they became trapped there?
I don't
Are
think
you-
you have that information unless you're just positing this in character
I'm
to the
positing
group.
it. I'm
Okay.
positing it. Yes. Yeah. Could it be that they're trapped? That's why they do not answer?
Anything is possible.
How would we find out? I suddenly whip around. Where's Wriggle?
Wriggle, this entire time,
I think he's been on my shoulder.
has been on Thrag's shoulder, yeah. If in doubt, he's on Thrag's shoulder.
Okay.
He's asleep.
Wriggle.
Yes.
Wriggle can go back and forth. There's the bad Wriggle, and Wriggle can see the other guy. It can.
Wriggle whips around. Where's the bad Wriggle?
Bad Wriggle's not here, Wriggle. But Wriggle, you can go there and come back, right?
Or where? To bad Wriggle?
Yes.
Wriggle can go there. Wriggle does not want to.
Right. But what if we sent you somewhere nicer where there is no bad Wriggle? Do you think you could go somewhere new if you knew where to go?
I'm gonna roll a dice for Wriggle's intelligence here. Wriggle's doing that thing that dogs do, where they just very clearly have no idea what you're asking them, but they know you're asking them something. Just turns his head sideways. He just does. He just looks very confused with you.
That's okay. What if Wriggle can get there to this third place, right? And if Wriggle can come back, then we know there's a way back, right? Or maybe Wriggle can't come back, and then we know that they're trapped, or something. I grab Thrak. I'm suddenly frantic. I grab Thrak on the by the front of his jacket. This could be everything. It could be everything. Do you understand?
I understand what you are attempting to do, but I am not sure how we could accomplish it.
What did Wriggle say all that time ago about us not being able to go with him?
I don't remember exactly what he said to you, but he said essentially just that that's one of the things that he can do. He can just flip, basically. He thinks he's walking through a door. You know, he just sees a cat flap and walks through it. But he can flip. I don't know if you know much more than that about what he does. From what I remember, you guys really didn't do much of an investigation on like what he was doing, how he was doing it, or where he was going. Until, you know.
Well, now's the time to look into this, perhaps, since you have newfound knowledge of places to go. Perhaps this will inform understanding how Wriggle does things.
Right. Wriggle could go and could ask the gods a question, or see what's there, or more information, right? This is something I turn to Hod, and I'm looking from Hod to Thrak. More information, yes?
Hod, is there a mirror here to the other Gaia?
Not that I have ever come across, but there have been many mages. Many rooms unexplored. If there was to be a mirror, I suppose it might be here somewhere, but this news is as much news to me as it is to you. All of this comes as a shock. I had known about the 99, but even the surprise that there is another Gaia, let alone this, I do not know. You would have to search.
Wriggle, Can you feel the mirror?
I'm gonna roll for Wriggle again real quick. Wriggle kind of looks at you. His little icicle ears fall flat to his the back of his head, and he leaps off of Thrak's shoulders, and kind of as he lands on the ground, he starts to turn around and around, leaving little icicles on the ground where his feet pad. He sort of stands up on hind legs and looks more impish than he has done in a while. His wings kind of flicker and jitter for a moment. He sniffs at the air.
Wriggle does not know if Wriggle can go. Wriggle needs to go to the cave.
The cave near Moon.
Yes.
It's not far from where we're going.
Do we have the time?
Did we at one point confirm that it was a mirror to the old Gaia, or were we just assuming?
We were just assuming.
We just know it's a mirror to another place that has a bad Wriggle.
We've proven already that Wriggle can just go wherever they want. They just think they need a mirror. Right.
Yeah. You potentially could just hold any mirror up in front of him, and he would just walk into it and pop out the other side.
What if?
But he doesn't know
Okay.
that.
How are
Wriggle
we so
thinks he
sure
needs
that
to go to
Wriggle
the cave.
knows about this third world and how to get there?
Wriggle, you know how there's a bad Wriggle, right?
Where's the bad Wriggle?
Yeah, he's not here, but you know there is one. There's the bad Wriggle.
The bad Wriggle bites and he scratches and he says that he's gonna kill the Wriggle.
Okay, what if there was a good Wriggle? Another Wriggle? A nice Wriggle?
Nice Wriggle.
Do you think that if you wanted to find nice Wriggle, you could find him?
I have to roll for his intelligence again here. Another 2. By the way, he has rolled. I think he rolled a 3 and then a 2 and then a 2 for those so far on his intelligence. He kind of like he kind of leans over and falls back down onto all fours. His hind leg comes up and like bats it, hit the back of his head, and he just looks up at you sort of quizzically.
Where is this good Wriggle?
I'm gonna stand up because I was like crouched talking to Wriggle. Is there a mirror in this room?
Give me a perception check.
$23.
There's not any mirrors per se, but there are some sheets of glass that might serve.
Sheets of glass. Okay.
I
I'm
pull
gonna-
out a big symbol out of the bag of many instruments. Would this work?
Is it shiny? Does it have a reflection on it?
I would think that it would, like a brass symbol.
I get a bit of my cloak and I spit on it and rub it.
Yeah, shine it up. What do you do with it?
I hand it to Cirrus.
Okay. And then I'm gonna say, Wriggle, can you touch this for a second? I'm hoping that he can freeze the edges of it, make them cold.
He just puts out a hand. It does look like it freezes a little and gets cold, yeah.
Okay, then I'm gonna turn around and wait 3 seconds. And then I'm gonna turn back around and go, I got this from the cave. You see, it's cold.
Give me a deception check.
The audacity.
Watch this. Oh no, I have -1 deception.
Just roll better than
14.
14. He rolls a 3.
Rick.
And by the way, I'm never using this dice again for anything important.
Weighted.
I've been using this dice forever, by the way. This has like been my number one. I've been using this since I started DMing, and it has failed me so badly tonight. Kind of. I mean, it's kind of hilarious that Wriggle is rolling so low. He looks at the symbol, and then looks up at you, and then looks back at the symbol, and back up at you, and says,
You got to be careful with it. There's some bad wriggle in there.
Yes, but maybe instead of looking for bad wriggle, you could look for a nice wriggle.
How do we not know that bad wriggle isn't from this third place?
We don't.
you can weave
That's
him
what I was
if you want to.
getting at.
I'll weave him. Do it.
Well, I don't see a bad wriggle. You want me to weave wriggle?
Well, I mean, is you don't know anything. I don't know if you know anything more about Wriggle than the basics of what you've already learned.
Could you not look into Wriggle the same way you understand the towers, with having many copies in many places? I wonder if
think I've
perhaps you
tried.
see something similar in Wriggle.
I've tried once before, but can try again. I will try again. And I have advantage because I'm in the tower, right?
Yeah.
Before you didn't
Okay.
understand the tower. Maybe there's a
Shall I?
chance.
Arcana check, Mr.
Yep. Arcana
Woto.
check. Yep.
Okay. A 32.
Jesus.
You just copy paste your notes directly to him.
So I think the information that I gave you before is that Wriggle is he is a sort of heretical creature in that he is an elemental and a fiend. He is similar to what Anaware was, one of these creatures that is a step above, a basic mortal like the four of you are, but a step below what an angel might be. These large, immortal, invincible things. But it's almost an element in the elemental part of what Wriggle is. Wriggle has likely existed forever. Many of the fiends and fae creatures came long before the mortals, and I guess you would know now, potentially, in that they were, they populated the world long before mortals, and at pretty much the same time as the angels. The fiends, faes, elementals, some other creature types existed first with the angels, and for a good long time before mortals started propping up and then building cities and villages around the angels, and then creating culture and civilization and things. Wriggle was probably just a little energy source more than a physical being for a good long time that existed when this world was created, and as such he is a creature of duality. He is a strange creature of duality. Mordriel is also now a creature of duality, whereas before Mordriel was a celestial, Mordriel is now a celestial and an undead and kind of a dragon. But Wriggle is the only Wriggle. Wriggle is on this side Wriggle, and when he goes through the mirror, or he doesn't need a mirror, when he goes to the other Gaia 1, he becomes bad Wriggle. And that's it. There is no... You get no sense that Wriggle has any ability to shift between this world and any other Gaia than the other one. He can jump between these two worlds and that's it. Unless you took him with you in the tower, but he wouldn't be able to just use a symbol or a mirror or something to just flip to the other world. He exists exclusively here. And on this side, he's a little elemental. On the other side, he's a little fiend.
So, I've gotten down on one knee and I'm, what does he eat? I'm assuming I know. By now.
Wriggle, he sort of eats anything, but he doesn't really need to eat. But you could give him, a Tupperware
Yeah, I'm not
box
giving
and he'd
him.
eat it.
I'm giving him a bit of dried meat or something as like a, yeah, and like I'm studying him, and I say, the weave has shown me that his connection is with the old Gaia. I find it highly unlikely that he could go to this third place. It was a good thought, though.
Okay. All right.
I think we should engage Mordriel if he comes close. But in the meantime, we should evacuate Moon to the tower.
How much time do we have? This creature was on his way here, no? Or wherever we are.
We do not know that, I don't think.
I can only assume.
There
It
are
is
other
just an
places
assumption.
with life on the planet.
Do you truly think he's done with us?
No, he will come here. He doesn't know where we are.
He will follow to the ends of every Gaia. If we go to the other Gaia, he will just go back. He'll find us. He is looking for the gods.
I know
We either
not
kill
this-
him or find a way to get him there. Or, like he said, somehow turn back time and make it so none of this ever happened.
I wonder if that opportunity is already passed, somehow. But I merely meant I know not this creature's mind. The last time we made contact with it, it did not rest until it found us. We only escaped by tower. I have no idea if this creature is still following us. It's not really in my ken to find out or know. Last time we tried to find out, that's how we showed it where it was, or we were. I'm just saying we have to exercise caution and haste.
Perhaps there's a way to figure it out. If one of you helps me.
Yes?
I would like to work with either Cirrus or Thrak with their connection to the tower and the way that it is connected to all the other towers all over Gaia. And I'd like to use basically to amplify my divine sense, which I now have, which allows me to know the location of any celestial fiend or undead, which is usually within 60 feet. But in this case, I'd like to kind of like magnify it with the towers.
Like a ping.
Ping his SIM card.
Yes.
Yeah.
Triangulate his signal.
You can do this with either one of them if they expend a first level spell slot. I'll allow it.
Yep.
I'll do that.
it. Oh, okay.
Only one of you needs to.
I'll do it.
You can all hold hands, but only one of you needs to use the energy.
Hey. I've never done
I think
anything
I
like this
am.
before, so
I think
I'm-
maybe Thrak should do it because he knows the tower better than I do. Far
but
better.
you've also connected with Mordriel once before.
That is true.
Well, we can help each other. And I take Cirrus and Jilden's hand.
I abstain.
I offer a hand to Seer, knowing he won't take it.
I look at her and say, the last time I assisted in something like this, we didn't almost lose Cirrus. 3 of us are dead now.
Correct.
I
And yet,
suppose.
we prevail.
What more do we have to lose, I guess? And I reach out for her hand and grab it.
Nice.
That's the spirit.
Right. And then amplified by the tower, amplified by the arcane energy, provided by Thrak, you activate this thing, which is just a great big sonar, I'm guessing. What do you do? How does this look? This is the first time you've accessed any of these new kind of abilities or used it.
When I first reawakened, there was a sort of light that slowly shimmered over me. I like to think that was sort of this awakening, this turning of Anaware's power. But there is a slight sense, there's a smell, in fact, of sulfur that happens, a sort of echo of the power that Anaware used to hold. There isn't much in the way of flashiness, though. It is a light shimmering that seems to pass over each of our hands. Cirrus holding one of my hands. Is Cirrus holding one or just Thrak? Because I'm holding one with Seer.
It's me and Sierra holding your hands.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I think you would still feel that sense of, there's almost as close to relief as you might be able to feel, actually. It's this faith, and I think that would almost feel similar in a strange way. And that's it, really, and it just kind of, like a wash, whoosh, that kind of washes out of everybody.
All right. Now, what does it do? You're doing Divine Sense?
Yes, I put it in the chat. The presence of strong evil registers on your senses like a noxious odor, and powerfully good rings like heavenly music in your ears. As an action, you can open your awareness to detect such forces.
Okay. The presence of strong evil most certainly registers on your senses like a noxious odor. If you're trying to send this out, you know, maybe a couple of miles. Moon is not a huge space exactly. The largest part of it is the lake with the mountain on it, which doesn't really cover the town. It's maybe a mile in length from Hard's Tower to the wall that you created in the first episode. So I'd say maybe this ping goes out for 2 miles. You get the sense of the town, and then you get the sense of just outside of the town. And once that sonar hits that wall and some parts of the lake and moving around underground beside the town, there are these caverns and caves that you moved through with the blue stone. Even in there, and building like a disease spreading in and around the majority of Moon, there is just a huge sense of evil, followed by the sense of undead. You just get this ridiculously large amount and sense of scale. The amount of undead here now from when you first left Moon on this adventure is catastrophically large. There is so many of them that it is just a block of undead on your senses for as far as this thing can reach. It's at least the undead are front to back, packed in all the way up to the edges of town, and beyond. Who knows how far. You sense a celestial in Voriel. and you sense a celestial in Mordril on the very edge of that mile to the south of town, sitting stable.
I think everybody would feel the same thing.
I'll allow it.
He is waiting for us.
As I assumed.
Pod, I think you should organize and try and get everyone in here while we try and stop him. Does anyone object?
No.
Or no?
Well, I mean, 3 against 1. Let's go.
I will,
How can you possibly object, Seer?
I'm just saying that at that
He
point,
doesn't
even
object,
if I
he has
did,
no opinion.
I have an opinion.
I will try and, I think I can make space. The top floor. There is, a place close to infinite in size. But we will have to make sure that everyone from Moon who comes into the tower and goes into that space stays close to the door. Should anything happen to me, Threk, that space is dangerous, but it is enormous. It is the largest room that I have ever been able to access. Beyond that, we could bring them down into the maze, but the maze is confusing and dangerous in its own way. Otherwise, they will not fit on the first, second floors. We have to get everyone from the town in here. It's going to take a long time. We must inform Thors, Oswald, Wien, and we will have to do this smartly. Start with the elderly, the children, the workers, the fighters last. Oswald will not want to leave the wall unmanned. There are caves. They crawl from the lake now. Much has changed in the months since you left Moon. It will have to be strategic. Let us inform Thors, and we will go and find Oswald. He will have to figure something out with the fighters.
Can you manage that while we go and find Riothamus?
Of course. We can leave it to the council.
As he was listing off all these things they have to do, all these time-wasting, time-excessive things, I think Seer can't help but look towards the mountain where this creature is watching.
Odd turns to you, Seer, and says,
Do you fear it?
No. No, I can't say I do.
Then,
What's on my mind is different from fear. I'm just being pragmatic. If you want your people to live, you have to be fast about it.
what
There's
are you
no way
suggesting?
to... Well, do you not have any other means of contact, say for sending someone?
I mean, not anything that would be that quick. Unless, I could create
I cast sending. I have sending. It
okay.
is prepared. I can send a short message, 25 words or less, to a creature with which I'm familiar. The creature hears the message in its mind. Range is unlimited. Can answer in a like manner immediately. Okay. I would like to send the plans to Thor's.
You got 25 words.
Yeah,
When
okay.
you say the plans.
Yeah, okay.
What
the
are
plans
the plans?
The plans.
Get everyone to the tower as
Now.
fast as possible. Yeah, or now. Now, let's just say now, because that's much less words. Thanks. And then
We
The
will
last
buy you.
stand is here. We will buy you time.
yeah. There you go.
I turn to him and say, you don't have the luxury of time. You will not be able to save everyone. We're going to do our best with what we can. But you're going to have to make a choice, a decision, as to whom you leave behind.
My decision is that we leave now. That we
Do what
leave
you
the
must.
town behind. That we do not
No.
open that door to whatever lies beyond.
If you go by yourself, well, how do Goliaths procreate? I say to him.
The same way most humanoids
You would be
do.
the last of a dying breed. Why leave? You may as well die here.
Give me an insight check, yeah.
He's not a Goliath at all. He's a leaf. Inside. Natural 20.
Hole.
His eyes look to yours, and as you say, why do you want to leave? You'd be the last. He looks down and then flicks his eyes back up to you, but in that moment you recognize that it's entirely selfish. He's a scientist. He wants to see it. He doesn't want to risk it. He wants to see what this world looks like. He is already dying. He's going to die regardless, but he wants to see it before he dies. It's the mad mage in him that wins here in this final moment.
Ooh.
Especially brought on by the fervor of being, quote unquote correct about his theory about Thrak and Cirrus.
You have forced us to put ourselves aside repeatedly for these months, for the time you have known us. Over and over again. Forced to put aside our natures for the betterment of our world. Now it's time for you to do the same.
I will do as you ask.
No, he won't. Is there another Goliath with us? It's hard and...
Yeah,
No.
Thor's is upstairs. Thor's can't get down here because he'd have to run that fucking maze gauntlet and attune to the
Right.
tower and shit. But Thor's does send you a message back because he can do that, right?
Yep, he can send a message back.
You get a message back from Thor's, and he says,
What do you mean, who is everyone? We have to go. Oswald is on his way to the tower.
19. If we leave
Oh
this
my God.
room, he is going to go without us.
Thrak, no way Hard can shift the tower without the weave, and Hard can't access the weave.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say Hard does not have the capability of taking us there. He needs me to do it.
If he needs you, then should we fail outside right now? How can we both save time to allow people to come here and also leave with the tower if you are the key for both?
We must fight Mordru. We must fight ourselves, and Thrak must stay a distance away. And if the fight looks like it is failing, Thrak must run straight here and leave.
Yes.
And
Oh.
outrun death itself.
Isn't that what he wanted to do anyway?
I will attempt
Thrak is
to
the only one
escape
alive.
if I can.
You should
But
stay.
we
Thrak.
must don't know how well you would fare without me.
We need Strack. He is a team. We are a team.
Well, we will potentially give our souls to Riothamus. That makes 4.
I have said my piece. I think we must find this dragon. All I'm saying is Thrak can't die.
Thrak can't die.
If that is what it takes to kill Mordrill, then we will keep Thrak alive. If we cannot, then we have failed, regardless.
Thrak. If we fail, you know where the gods are.
Yes. I will do my best to save as many people as I can.
Then let's be
We
quick
go
about
together. Yes.
Hard looks across each of you and says,
I will do as you request. I will try and get as many people into the tower as we can.
he glances at Thrak and then turns around before looking down and reaching into his pocket and pulling out an item, turns to you, Cirrus, and places it in your hand. He says,
Your request.
he places into your hand a small golden moth, and on the back of the moth is an engraving which is a triangle within triangles and 3 recurring overlapping concentric circles. This is the an object engraved with a symbol of the outer planes, worth at least 500 gold pieces.
Thank you.
Come then. Let us meet with Thors.
And he steps out and begins to make his way upstairs.
I'm very glad that my text to my grandpa didn't get through in the way that grandpas don't understand texts.
He's looking at his Nokia 3310 going,
Yeah.
he's still got one of those phones that you have to click the 3 buttons to get to see or whatever.
Blew a spell slot for him to be like, what does everyone mean?
You know what really sucks is he's also got sending. Could have called you back, but didn't.
Yeah.
It was just like, what? In my head, he just could not comprehend everyone being everyone, you know, like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I thought that we'd already discussed with him the getting everyone
The
into the
refugee
tower.
plan. Yeah.
The refugee plan. So I assumed that this would kick off the refugee plan as was discussed.
Yeah, I don't know if he's like too sure.
He's like, what does everyone mean?
I think
The
we see
planet
you
is
all
dead.
sort of like rush up the stairs, and you know Thors is waiting anyway, so you can clear it up immediately. The Darrow is still going crazy. A bunch of them at the windows, like looking out, screaming about, "Is this the Fingerlands?" It's just that cold expanse of the village of Moon, and you guys come up, and out of the window, I think we as an audience would see the town of Moon, and it's the village that is sitting. It is nighttime, by the way. The sun has set during this time, and the village is kind of battered and worn. There are Goliaths everywhere that look exhausted, tired. We see the head of the watch the enormous form of the Goliath Oswald, the ranger, with his cloak billowing out behind him. He is covered in scratches, bruises, wounds. He's covered in filth and grime and blood across all of his clothing. He's got 2 swords on his back and a longbow, and he's dragging himself up towards the tower as we see just an endless wave of undead beyond that wall that you had created, and sitting on a mountaintop miles south of town is the Dracolich, the form of Mordrill, with those red eyes piercing through the veil of the cold wind. And I think that's where we end tonight's session. Thank you for playing, players. Thank you for watching, everybody. We're going to head off and record a green room, which you can check out at tablestory.tv/merch. It is a post-show discussion. We have much to discuss. And we'll be back next week. This is the final arc. How will it go? What will they do? Will this plan work? You've got all these things in place. Now you just have to see if you can successfully pull off one of these plans. A reminder for everybody who has been maybe away or is new here, we have multiple new shows on Tablestory at the moment. There are shows almost every single night. Monday, Pathfinder. Tuesday, Quura. Wednesday, we have Tidal Blades. Episode 1 of that was last week, so you have just enough time to catch up with that before tomorrow's episode 2. The same with Thursday, we have Main Character, a brand new show. Please go and watch the first episode of that. I'm not going to tell you anything about it. It is an insane opener to a show. Friday, we have Non-Canon, which is slowly becoming canon. That's the sequel. Friday nights, we have the watch parties on Discord with Orcish. And then on Sundays, we have Deathless. So please tune into one of those things. If that sounds like your bag, all of the VODs are available for the shows on Twitch. You can see them on YouTube. They go up the next day around midday Eastern. And everything is available in podcast and audio form. You can find them on Spotify and Apple and things like that if you want to go and check those out. Just do some Googling or follow the links that are all around. Thank you for watching, everyone. We'll see you next week. Goodbye.
Bye.